One of the elements that I found most shocking was seeing the live shark and other marine life being pulled on board out of the ocean and fighting for their lives in a battle that we knew that they were going to lose, which is difficult to watch, although it's very important to bear witness, to be able to share these stories. Once we had pinpointed a specific vessel, we would have one of our Taiwanese campaigners call the captain on the radio, explaining who we are, who Greenpeace is, that we're here on the Rainbow Warrior to do this documentation of hauling.
Yifeng 22, this is Rainbow Warrior.
This is really important as we want to make sure that when we're approaching vessels, they know who we are, they know what we're doing, and they understand that we are not here to disrupt the fishing activities, that we are peaceful, non-violent activists here to do research and documentation. How many empty hooks, what marine life was getting pulled up, whether it was shark, marlin, even sometimes marine bird life. And then we also had our smaller boats, our ribs, in the water alongside with photo video, getting the harrowing but important footage and documentation of these marine animals fighting for their lives. We recorded about 25 hours of haul documentation. Across those 25 hours, we counted about 84 shark, 1 to 2 tuna, as well as 3 sea turtles, 2 of whom were thrown back into the ocean, the other unconfirmed, a small number of billfish and manta ray. One of the other surprising and difficult to witness elements of the hull documentation is the number of empty hooks that we saw. We counted almost 4,000 empty hooks. We are around the Emperor Seamounts, one of the most rich biodiverse areas in the North Pacific and in the Pacific. And yet, the number of empty hooks is emblematic of what's happening across our oceans, not just here in the North Pacific, but around the world. We are continuing to overfish, continuing to use destructive fishing practices, such as long line hauling without bycatch mitigation. What that is resulting in is tuna stocks being depleted, shark stocks being depleted. Around the world since 1970, shark populations have gone down about 80%. Some species have gone down 90% or even more. If we're seeing that sharks that have just about reached maturity are being hauled up, hacked and finned, they are then not able to repopulate. So this can also then become a cycle of depopulation. We expected to see more tuna than we did, especially when we were closer to Taiwan and Japan. And in the end, we only saw about 2 tuna. Further north in the Pacific, we anticipated there may be less tuna. We didn't expect there would be none. And through the conversations with captains and fishers, what we were told was in a reversal what we often find within this campaign, where tuna is the focus and bycatch could be shark, could be marlin, could be sea turtles. Instead, up here, tuna was the bycatch. Even further south, when we were in the high seas, but closer to Japan and to Taiwan, already tuna was seen as bycatch because of the rarity of tuna getting pulled up.
那来这边大概是会捕什么鱼啊？
大部分都鲨鱼耶。
They said around here is all fishing shark.
One of the other sources of information that we had was the captains and the fishers themselves, who told a similar story of having to come further east, further north than previous years in order to even try to get the same amount of catch.
They cannot catch fish. They cannot catch fish because I asked him why you come here so far. Yeah, so because no fish, so I have to be here.
One of the captains who we spoke to out here, who is a 5th generation captain owning his own vessel, shared with us that he doesn't want his children to step into the same life because it's just not possible to make a living anymore. So here we're seeing both the human impact of destructive fishing practices and the appetite for extractive practices, but then we're also seeing some elements of the human cost as well, both in terms of a way of life that is no longer possible, as well as the human cost of the fishers who work in often difficult conditions on board. What we're seeing out here is even when there are regulations and restrictions, the enforcement isn't happening. The clearest way forward is to create a marine protected area across the Emperor Sea Mountains to preserve this unique and critical hotspot of marine biodiversity. This is achievable, and it rests on the companies that are making money across the seafood supply chain to take responsibility and accountability, as well as for policymakers in the US and other parts of the world to step up enforcement of existing laws to ensure that seafood is not tainted with forced labor, is not tainted with modern slavery at sea, and is not tainted with environmental destruction.